Kia ora, kia rana, maulelei, bulavanaka, noia, maboai, whakalofalahi atu, talofa lava, and hi everyone. Firstly, congratulations on wanting to upskill yourself as a servant leader. I'm Rev Peter Benzie. I'm the Director of Operations for our movement, our denomination. My aim over the next few minutes is to help you understand your role in making sure that your church does everything that it's required to do as a church in New Zealand by talking about the why, the how, and the what. So firstly, the three whys. Number one is love is the key. Jesus said, love your neighbour as yourself. Every rule you follow, every policy that you make, every process you implement, every form you complete, they're all about showing love, showing God's love. When you meet your obligations to your people, to our movement, to the government and its agencies, you're not just doing what is required of you. You are sending the message that you love and care for others. It's not just about ticking off a checklist. It's about making sure everyone feels safe, cared for, and welcome in your church. Secondly, being open and honest is who we are. We believe in being as clear as crystal. We're open about how we handle money, how we make decisions, and how we go about our church business. Our movement values transparency, integrity, acting ethically at all times and in all things, and a willingness to be held accountable. And safety is a key priority. As a movement, we're committed to providing safe environments for work, worship and study that are free from harassment, bullying and violence. As the guardians of your church, one of your key priorities needs to be making sure that everyone, from the youngest baby to the oldest adult, knows that they're stepping into a safe place, a real sanctuary, when they come to your church or attend any of your ministries. The what? There's only one what. Know and understand what is required. This is your starting point and is key to you doing your job in this area as a servant leader. You need to know what rules, regulations, policies and obligations the church needs to follow, not only as a local church and as part of our denomination, but also as required by the laws and regulations of New Zealand. It doesn't mean you have to know them in detail, but it does mean you need to know what they are, where to find them, and broadly how they apply to your church. So let's just take a couple of moments to talk about some of the key ones that you need to be aware of. The Charities Act, because this outlines what your duties and responsibilities are to make sure that your church holds on to its charitable status, a status which brings with it several tax and other benefits for your church and its people. The Health and Safety at Work Act, because it tells you what you have to do to protect people in the church against harm to their health, safety and welfare by eliminating or at least minimising risks from what you do as a church, and what you must do when an accident or near miss happens, as it will do. The Privacy Act, because we hold personal information about people and we have responsibilities under the Act to keep that information confidential. The church's tax opportunities and obligations. Because churches enjoy special tax privileges, which your church and its people should take advantage of, advantages like the donation rebate. The national constitution of our movement, because this will help you understand your role as a servant leader and how that relates to your minister, as well as what being part of the denomination means for your church and its people. Your church's constitution. Similar to the National Church Constitution, this will help you understand your role and how to make sure your church meets its obligations. The denomination's policies like the Safe Church Policy, police vetting policy, and safety and employment policies. These are all part of us doing all we can to make sure that our churches are indeed free from harassment, bullying and violence, and that our ministries are led by people who are safe and trustworthy. A key point here is you need to be aware that your minister must pass the Safe Church Competency Assessment to continue to be in good standing as a minister, and that you will be expected to complete the Safe Church Competency training also. And finally, there are reporting requirements like the Health and Safety Incident Forms and Annual Checklist. These are required for your church to meet its obligations under the Health and Safety at Work Act, and the Quarterly Local Church Return, which provides you with both snapshots and trends over time that will help you to assess and evaluate where your church is at, as well as to identify areas where you might want to put some effort to further enhance the discipleship of your people, as well as the growth of the kingdom of God. These are just a few of the rules, regulations and policies, etc. that the church needs to follow. And I'd strongly encourage you to look at the others that are on our national website and which are available through our national database, Alvanto. So finally, the two hows. Take the viewpoint of Jesus. When the Pharisees asked him if they should pay tax, Jesus' reply was that they should give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar and give to God what belongs to God. He recognized that we have obligations to those who govern us and who provide leadership over us, as much as we have obligations to God, and that we should meet both. And secondly, make sure all the obligations of your church are met. Notice I didn't say do all the work yourself. As a servant leader, your role is to make sure that the church meets all its obligations. And this will usually mean holding your minister accountable for the actual work that's involved. You should expect regular reports at your meetings, which help you know that the church is meeting its obligations. I know this probably sounds very daunting, which is why I want to leave you with this. You are not alone. As I said earlier, there is a wealth of resources available both on our national website and through our national database. And I'm only too happy to help you work through meeting what is required of you. Just reach out to me. Your minister knows how to contact me. May God bless you as you fulfill God's call to you to help lead the people He has called and will call to make your church their church home. And now I encourage you to take a few minutes to discuss what you've just learned by thinking and discussing about these two questions. Which of the church's obligations did you not know about before I mentioned them? And secondly, what will be your next step to make sure that the church meets all its obligations?